In today's world, more young Nigerians are building brands and businesses from the ground up, from fashion to tech, food, design, and beyond. But while the dream looks good on paper, the reality is not always smooth. Between limited funding, unstable systems, and constant pressure to grow, many young founders are figuring it out one step at a time. So the question is, what does it really take to start and sustain something in Nigeria today? How do you move from idea to impact, especially when the odds seem stacked against you? Welcome to another episode of Talk to Talk with Uchepuh, the space where we have honest conversation about identity, growth, and purpose as young Africans finding our way in today's world. So joining me today is someone who's walking that entrepreneurial journey, Olabode, the founder of WasteVest, a young company that's proving you don't need everything figured out to start. Olabode is a climate smart entrepreneur, a seasoned young founder with a passion for getting the little things right. He founded WasteVest, a waste management company focused on building a dynamic waste marketplace and empowering Africans' smart cities through innovative hardware solutions. He is an alumnus of Godney Leadership Center and Lagos Business School, Sustainability Center, and a strong believer in partnerships for the goals. On the fun side, Olabode is actively preparing to compete in the 2026 African National Table Tennis Competition. Okay, which explains why he never jokes with his weekend training sessions. So we'll be diving into the realities of starting a company in 2025 and beyond. The good, the hard, and the lessons that comes with building from the ground up. Olabode, welcome to Talk the Talk with Uchepuh.
Thank you. You guys might know her as chef. You guys might know her as a chef, but me I know her as Blessing, my guy. She's one of my girlfriends. Paper. So you guys calm down for us.
All right, it's so good to
Hi,
have you
Blessing.
here. Yeah, thank you so much for creating the time to speak to us. So we're just going to dive straight into it. Let's start from the beginning, right? From the idea to action. Let's start with your own story. How did the idea for your brand or your company come about?
Yep. Thank you, Blessing. It's nice being here to be honest. And it's like a little bit afternoon in retrospect as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first thing should be as young people, let's learn to live outside the paychecks. As much as it is good to have a good job, have a great life, let also have it at the back of our mind that we are here for a purpose and we should learn to contribute our parts. I mean, it started for me just being out there, putting myself out there, trying to understand what I'm passionate about. And I could remember I applied for a program called the We Create Change, organized by Nguvu Collective, and they asked what change will I like to see in my community. And I said, you know what, I would like, our motor parks to be clean. And aside from there, I think the organization was in partnership with Change.org at the time. And, Change.org is a online petition platform where you petition a DTB area to take action. And, we started ideating what can be done, what should we, do, who should be responsible for making the FCT clean.
Mm.
And, there was need for us to petition the Abuja Environmental Protection Board, which we did. And because I was always out there, I had organizations I was volunteering with even while I was serving. One of them was the Center for Peace Advocacy and Sustainable Development, who kind of have some personal relationship with a lot of news agencies. And I mean, they felt like they could also buy into the idea because it looks like one of their responsibilities or their one of their visions or core functions at Sepat at the time to amplify such ideas. And um, a couple of news just start picking it up. The environmentalists behind keeping Abuja motor parks clean. One of them were Daily Trust, One Voice Nigeria, Herald News, and a couple of others. I mean, I literally turned on news agencies that were in vogue at the time.
Mm.
And Jacobinson, we had a meeting. We set up a meeting with the director of AEPB at the time. Then I was referred to the Department of Solid Waste. I held a meeting with the person in charge, and you know, obviously, that didn't go through because AEPB then told me, they don't provide bins for motor parks. The list or what they could do is help me to amplify my campaign by writing to embassies, and who's going to fund that? Even to come to your office, if I'm using my personal fund. Thank God to the friends I made or some of the facilitators who like really liked me. Sometimes I tell them, hey guys, I can't afford even printing this thing, to submit. So like, I need some relationship, but let me send you some funds, you know. And I kept moving the needle forward. Um, I lost my job, which is still going to like connect back to some of what blessing I believe will be asking me. And I could remember around 11 p.m. at the time, I was just pacing all around in the room, and I told Busai I was in Lagos that evening. I was at a very good friend of mine. Like, guy, we've been trying to start business for like God knows how long. I've been having this idea. I saw a reverse vending machine by EcoBata recently. These guys are trying to, revolutionize waste and stuff like that. I have an idea. Why not let's partner with AEPB? I still have some relationship there. We could just gather all these scavengers, babambulas, try to like, be the middlemen that sensitize, these guys to have a safer way to, pick waste, get AEPB to maybe provide them with, gears and the likes. And just that one idea, build up to another idea, build up to another interest, build up to one fire in you, and before you know, we registered WasteVest. From just that curiosity, to be honest. Although I always tell my friend, I'm in WasteVest for business and for impact. So let's not even fool ourselves here. I want to make money from my startup, and that's how we started.
Mm. That's really good. I think curiosity comes ideas, and then from ideas, it begins to roll, grow from one stage to another. So, next is, was it something you planned, or did it come from solving a personal problem?
Good. So, in the first part of my introduction, I noted that, as young people, aside paychecks, it's good for us to learn to, you
Mm-hmm.
know, try to learn to live for something bigger than you at times.
Yeah.
Just what could be the worst? Yeah, it won't happen. Yeah, it will happen. Um, obviously the activities then with Unguvu Collective was for my social responsibility or my obligation as a citizen, because of course I really do not like it. I really do not like the fact that I've visited other countries and I see how we behave outside. I really do not like it that we have a lackadaisical attitude, when it
Mm.
comes to we actually taking responsibility of our environment. And
Yes,
so
yes.
I think that was part of it. And the fact that um I the fact that I picked this up was as a result. I also had a need to focus on something at that point of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned earlier that when I lost my job, um there was a need for me to, okay, yeah, you've left your previous organization now. So what next? Are you going to start looking for other jobs? Yeah, which I did for some time. I mean, logically speaking, you want to get another job. And but the funny thing is, the other job I now eventually got, I didn't even apply for it. It found me, so while building the startup, it's always advisable that you have, a job you're also doing, to sustain
Yeah.
uh, if you're not funded. But I would say it's a blended feeling for me because at the time when I left my previous job, I, I had to do something, right? I mean, man, I have to take the bull by the horn. I
Yeah.
have to man up. So yeah, I started taking it a little bit more serious, and
Mm-hmm.
I also try to take my survival serious. So yeah, it's not really planned and it's planned. It's shaky. Bless, I don't know if you understand,
I get
but
you.
I
I
mean
get you. You
that
know, like,
happened.
yeah, I guess like my sister would say, you need to have something at hand so that you'll be able to use that thing that you have at hand to fund what you want to do for your personal
Ex,
self or your personal
ex,
growth. Whatever it is, you
ex,
just need that fund for, sustainability of what you want going on the side for yourself. So,
exactly.
back to the next question. What
Yeah.
was that very first step you took, and how did you know it was time to actually start?
Hmm. Well, um, the very first step again was to be curious
Mm-hmm.
because I understood that I would definitely not have the answers to what should I do now and
Mm-hmm.
how far will this take me. So I started being curious. Curious in the sense that I was asking questions. So if you're going to start a company, what do you need to do? Well, obviously you need to
Mm-hmm.
register with the Corporate Affairs Commission. You want to get your foundations right. Define your problem statements. What do you really want to solve? And I started, brainstorming with my co-founder then, Busayo. Oh, let's get a name for the company. What is the company going to be doing? And to be honest, the rest were history. Even till date,
Mm-hmm.
we are still figuring it out. I mean,
Yeah.
we've had a couple of partnerships, but that wouldn't have been possible if we haven't, challenged ourselves to be curious. We've had partnerships even with companies that, were the reasons why we started this in the first place. I mean, I mentioned Ekubata initially, because I was inspired by the fact that there's a company that is, manufacturing reverse vending machines. At times when I look back to some of my previous LinkedIn posts about WasteVest, I noticed that I also wanted to do what she was doing, but I wanted to do it in my own way. And
Yeah.
that has grew into understanding that, oh yes, I want to do that, but this is what I actually want to solve in particular. So that's where curiosity fits, or that's where, when we feed on our curiosity, we get answers. To be honest, like when we are curious, like young people, we need to be very curious because at this stage of our development, for some reasons, it's how we can change the world. To be honest, like
True.
you just have to be like
Mm-hmm.
crazy,
Yeah.
delusional,
Mm-hmm.
and just you figure it on the journey. To be honest, you figure it out if it truly means
True.
a deal for you.
Okay. So when you said you just have to start things, something comes up to your mind, you implement it on the journey. You see something you like, you implement it in your own way. That makes it your own innovation. That makes it your own, yeah, makes it your own invention. And I feel like this people will say, oh, it's too cliche to say, oh, just start. But it's true when you see a lot of people saying, just start, just start. Even if it's from the idea, start penning it down or typing it on your docs or whatever. If it's a conversation you need to have with someone, just start. You don't have to be
Sure,
perfect. You don't have to have everything perfect. In fact, I
sure.
feel like there are sometimes when you're so much of a perfectionist, it also causes, a bit of delay and
Mm,
distraction. Just start. You don't have to be
yeah,
perfect. Pick it
you
up,
know that you know
and
that
then everything is going to, find its way to become in line or in sync
sure,
and in motion.
sure,
So
sure.
now that we've looked at the beginning, let's look at the struggles, the reality. The reality of starting up in Nigeria, we know it's not easy. In fact, in anywhere, it's not easy. What were the hardest parts of starting your company here in Nigeria?
Yeah, I used to have a school mom. We used to joke about this school mom. We don't go back to school. She's currently in
Mm,
the UK now. Sometimes when I share maybe some of my stuff on, um, my WhatsApp status, I should be like, but I wish I had a country that's truly, sees potentials in young people, and so like it's always out there that I wish we're in a system that truly works. Look at high school kids in the US, raising $100,000 for like an idea that's you're like, what's this solving, guy? And they just raise funds for it, and they move the needle forward. And some of them are great, some of them are just, guy, what is this? But the hardest part for us at WasteVest, because I mean, my team and I are like um a growing young people, including some of us in South Africa, um, an IT student, who is leading, our hardware components, aspects, Trinity, Makari. It's not been easy for any of us, not even only in Nigeria, even in Africa, because um, our leadership style does not really, they don't see any reason to provide an enabling environment for young businesses to thrive and employ other young people. They still have this structure in place that is go to school and still get a job. And now the jobs are not even available. That's the painful part. Like,
yeah.
come on. So obviously it's funding, right? But other
Mm-hmm.
than funding, um, there's need for us to have thick skin and
So,
at our own tables. If we don't create our own tables, who will? So that's basically what we're doing. They didn't invite us, cool. We will invite ourselves on our own tables, and
so,
that is the
mm,
reason why we're trying to solve indigenous problem. And as bad as it may, yeah, we still have some hope, and the hope includes working with government agencies, and some of them are responsive, some are, yeah, but whatever it is, it is what it is. It is what it
mm,
is.
at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it is what it is. And I can totally relate because I had an experience working, you know, when you're trying to get things done with government agencies or parastatals, it's like you're
Yeah.
taking 10,000 steps backwards because their stores are just analog. Like you said, sometimes you need to create the door. If there's no door for us to walk through, we have to create that door for ourselves. So, on to the next one. How did you handle challenges like funding, support, or even just getting people to take you seriously? I know you said that from previous, but then you can just enlighten us on other
Mm.
aspects.
Yeah, I think let me start from that last part. How did I get people to take us seriously? I think I just
Mm,
took it serious too. Yeah,
mm,
I took my business serious.
yeah.
I'm out there,
Mm-hmm.
I'm on your WhatsApp status, I'm on your LinkedIn LinkedIn feed, I'm on your, Instagram feed, and
You are on all media.
you get, and you just have it at the back of your mind at some point. But this boy is like, is serious, true, and maybe the least you could do is, oh, well done, like,
Yeah.
well done, like,
Mm,
and yeah, basically that's it. And identifying the right teammates, the right opportunities to, apply for. Right now, we're big on, should we get equity funding, into the company? Should we get, low interest loan? Should we get, obviously the grant is not even coming. Nobody wants to give you money again,
mm-hmm.
But other than that, we're also applying for hackathons. In fact, I just submitted a course completion today by Growth Connects. Um, and yeah, hoping to go to the funding stage. And guys, wish us luck that
Yeah, all
we're
the
able.
best. All the best. I totally love what you're doing. I've been seeing it. And it's something I think for me it's also personal because and I've said this before that the way we don't care about waste in Nigeria is something we need to ask ourselves. So we tend to be neat in our homes, but then what are the streets saying about our neatness as people, as individuals, you know? It's something.
Let's say
Ah,
like our country is a smelling mess right now. Like you just walk through a street.
there are some places I totally avoid because when it rains, you can't pass. You can't even walk on that road. Forget about the bad road. You can't walk on it because your feet are getting into unimaginable form of dirt, jams, and disease. In fact, I don't. Let's not even talk about it. Nobody cares. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody's saying anything. What happened to the ministry in charge of waste and all of that? Who knows? But then that's not the why we're here today, and that's not the conversation for today. So, moving on, let's look at there's this silent pressure to succeed fast. You know now, I want blue, I
Uh,
want blue, I want blue.
uh,
How do you deal with that? Especially when growth is so slow, because you know they say drops of water make an ocean, right? So you know that drops are very slow. How do you deal with that?
yeah. Thanks for that blessing. I I think this is a little bit emotional, just a little bit, because sometimes I feel like there are people that are not even doing up to what I'm doing, and they're having it figured out. And you agree with this sentiment, if it is even a sentiment to begin with, that
Yes.
there are some people that they don't even like hustle up to how we hustle. I mean, blessing me and you will go way back. Like we're grounded in our crafts, right? We were former colleagues, and you could tell that some things are just like we're not supposed to date this kind level.
Yeah.
Like it's meant to have been a lot more better than this. And I'm not apologetically saying this, because I just tell my close friends, guy, what are we even doing with our lives? And it's not about even blowing right now. It's about having access to the basic things.
Yeah.
Like some of us don't even know when we can save up to get a car. Some of us don't
Mhm.
know when. Some of us don't even know when we can even stop thinking about where the next trends will come from. And it's not even only about young people. Like you want to add the one plus one together. It's not Martin guy. Like
Yes.
myself and my friend, we were seeing a Instagram video yesterday, and the guy was like, if I'm not in a relationship by 30, that means before I get married, maybe it's probably 30, 31. Before probably a child comes in is around maybe 34, 34. And
Mhm.
before his child is 10 years, he's probably going to be around 45 years old. So it's not even about blowing blessing. It's about
Yeah.
having access to basic things. Like we
Mhm.
have what we call the Nigerian Youth Trust Fund. Guy, I don't know what those guys are doing. What is the Nigerian Youth Trust Fund that you guys are saying? Like we don't even know if we have a future to even begin with. Do you get?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think that's why Nigerians are like, bro, I have to get it by all means.
Mhm.
Like at 30, I'm still catching balls. I'm not sure where the next meal is coming from. And you expect me to be chill. As how now? As how? As how? I mean, so I mean, for every young person trying to get it right out there, I don't, bro, that the hunger is what fits it more. So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, you have to blow, my guy. You have to. Don't let them talk you down. But that doesn't mean you should be desperate to do shady things or
Yeah.
wrong
True.
wrong moves, and but you just have to blow, guy. And I'm trying not to say that you should not trust your process, or get the basics right, or get the little things right, but
Mm.
um those curiosity to be better is what really fits the dream.
True. True. So let's look at the process, right? We've talked about the beginning, we've talked about the struggle. Let's look at the process. Building and staying consistent. What's one thing you've learned about leadership and management that surprised you?
Well, first and first, I won't want to lead from where I was coming from. So um, I I want to lead my team like we're in this together.
Yeah.
And I don't need everybody in the team. I just need people that believes in the dream, like it's their own
Mm.
dream
Yeah.
and it's their own problems also solve. Sometimes I'm even sometimes when I send messages, I even use this please emojis just to make sure that I'm humble. But basically, I think leading should be something that people are happy to like work with you. People are happy to like hear from you.
Mm-hmm.
Your message shouldn't come to people as burdens, even though you pay them, even though they're on your payroll.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's been like a very fundamental part of how I lead. Um, and I don't think that likely because um, I remember while I was still new on my role with a company I work with in the UK, um, I still have this trauma of calling people sir because my
Mm-hmm.
previous employer cannot do without sir, you
Yeah.
know.
Mm-hmm.
And I go from that start to boss, and the relationship has been superb. So I think I want to keep close friendships and work relationships that make me understand that working for someone shouldn't be like slaving for them, but rather
Yeah.
go together. And that's a vibe check. As young people, I want to emulate. So yeah.
True. That's key. And I think it's a lot of thing Nigerian background where we all have to say sir, ma every time. For me, I always tell people, do not call me sir or ma. It makes me feel old. Sir, ma, it's too much. What happened to your name?
Respect is not from it's not just from calling you all those unnecessary
Yes.
titles. Like what is
Yes.
said behind you when you're not there,
Mm-hmm.
is one of the reasons you know if they really respect you or not. So
Yeah.
don't be
True.
fooled. But I mean our culture and tradition. So
Yes. So
let's
that
yeah,
that
let's
that's a very major factor. So let's
yeah,
look
let's
at were there moments where you felt like quitting? Like I can't do this anymore. And what
every
kept
two
you
two
going?
seconds blessing. Every two seconds I want to quit. Every two seconds. And I told my friend this thing one time too. And the reason why I couldn't quit is so whenever I now sleep, I'm like, Charlie, I've done a better thing yesterday. I can't just let that thing waste. So let's do more today. So that keeps me going because I don't want the efforts of yesterday to just go to waste like that.
True.
But I mean, every great people has felt it that I can't do this anymore. To be honest,
Mm-hmm.
like I have that feeling a lot. Like, do I have to? Sometimes I'm like, just take your JAPA application serious and just leave, you know. But I don't know, I just can't. And even if I eventually leave, I just can't quit WasteVest. At
Yeah.
least for now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe until it's valuable to an extent I sell it and stuff. But yeah, I just can't quit. I've gone so
Mm-hmm.
far to quit. So that's why I keep going. Yeah.
And that's a great vision right there. How do you keep your brand going while still staying true to why you started?
Yeah, I mean, to begin with, I think passion is a very key aspect of this whole thing. Like I've tried to understand why I came from the non-profit sector
Mm-hmm.
to convert. Yeah, I've had that personal thoughts too. I'm like, so, but you've led so many petitions, you've been part of so many change, so much so that you had a full-time job at some point with a non-profit, that um that works as a parliamentary monitoring organization, your background as a political scientist.
Mm-hmm.
your personal, motivations in so many programs that you've even collect. So why waste vest? Why waste? Why the secular economy? So I just noticed that I was looking for a job that blends my passion and something, that blends my passion with something that I can really see results. Okay, say we go to area one dumping site now, and I don't want to see deaths all around area one dumping site now. And we all get our hands dirty and picked all of those trash. My passion started with I do not want to see deaths. And I've gotten the opportunity to bring people together. I've gotten resources to bring people together, to have shovels, to have garbage trucks, to have gloves, to have water, and to make sure that area one is clean. And I noticed that that was why, I just can't stop. That was why I'm passionate about it because it's something more of a social cause, that also supports you and that just makes you feel like you're doing something good. And it's easy for every other person to buy into it because it's the right thing to do, right?
Yeah, true.
So yeah,
So let's look at the future, right? Lessons and advice, from what you've experienced, coming from, the idea to where you are right now,
yeah,
and looking into the future. What are
mm,
the lessons, the lessons you've acquired or you've accumulated from idea down to this point, and
mm.
what you've learned so far? What
Oh, okay,
advice would you give young founders who are going to start now, today, tomorrow, next year, and in the future? What advice would you give them? The truth,
yeah,
not the one that they see on
sure,
social media, that doesn't
sure.
reflect the truth. What is that
I feel
advice that you give them?
Yeah, I feel that's a very good one, Blessing. First of all, don't joke with partnership. Partnership doesn't necessarily mean you secure that big partnership with this big organization. Partnership could be with your close circle, who they are interested to, they are interested to, walk the journey with you, hold them close, be of good moral, character, be someone that is, um, good to relate with, someone that, you you are a lovable person, you're not a mean person, because it will contradict every reasons why you exist in the first place at some point. I used to intern with this organization. I mean, I won't mention name, but she was the direct opposite, of what she stands for. And you could tell she was just there for the money or the grants. And I'm not trying to, crucify
Mm-hmm.
anybody, but it's just truth at times. So be that one person that are people willing to, work with you even though you don't pay them.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, none of the team on WasteVest is paid. The highest I've done so far was data stipends, and I say this with humility, with gratitude, and with forever thankfulness to them. And it all comes from friendship. So
Mm-hmm.
initially when you read about I it was noted there that I'm a big believer of partnership for the goals. You can't do life alone. Life is not even meant to be done alone. And all we're doing is not even for you alone. You are doing it for everybody. Like if the area one that I made a hypothetical example of is clean, it's not all of us that is benefiting from it. So um what I advise, for anyone who is trying to start is make sure that your small circle, that your A team, they love you first. Like they are willing to, they don't necessarily have to die for you. They are not Jesus. They have their own dreams too, right? But
Mm-hmm.
can they believe in your dreams too because of how you make them feel?
Yeah.
Because of how you show up for them. So I feel like this life and blessed, it's everyday choices. So
Mm.
every day, make sure that you are very intentional about how the next person feel, because it's kind of like it's truly spirit kind of revolves around, with the future. So and it's just a matter of time. It's going to be more clearer for you. You just have to like
Mhm.
sort out there, go for it, and identify people who believes in it and work with them.
All right. I think I said this thing that you said last. I said it last week. I'm like, you cannot do it alone. You need a village behind you. Even if you feel like you can do it alone, it's a one person's thing. Do not ever underestimate the power of somebody standing behind you. So moving on, what one mindset shift you think every young entrepreneur needs to make to survive 2025 and beyond?
Well, um, I first thing first is get something that pays your bills.
Mhm.
Uh, like don't joke with that. In fact, your respects should 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 be built on it. Like get something that pays your bills first. And if your business is not going to pay your bills as well, just know you're in for non-profits. And I don't think that's entrepreneurial. Get something that pays your bills and keep building whatever you're building and make sure that it is meant to pay your bills. And it's just a matter of time. We'll know if you should continue or not. And don't be scared to start all over again. If 2026 wasn't the year, like some of us are not find love this year, go next year. We start all over again. you
Yeah,
know?
I get you. So,
Yeah.
finally, moving on, finally, what does success mean to you now? Has it changed since you first started?
Mm, mm. Yeah, that question sounds very simple, easy, and just get straight into it. But I don't know if I've had a KPI to measure it,
Mm-hmm.
but I think I might want to maybe take a balcony view on all I've done this year and the year before, um, till we get here. Maybe I want to do that. Maybe I want to get back to you in details. But one thing I've noticed so far is WasteVest has pushed me a little bit further. It has helped me to unravel so many Pandora box about myself. Um, it has also helped me to know that I can be happy doing what I want to do. And I think that's a good success if I may put it that way. Yeah, it's a good start for understanding that KPI I would like to use. But overall, I think success may also look like, of course, everyone wants to see their startup succeed, right? But success will also be having a product that is not completely, just, accessible to only the people that can afford it. And that means we might want to be considering how affordable our products, like our hardware components, because of course we're creating a waste marketplace, right? Making sure Blessing is able to trade our pet bottles for airtime, data, or electricity units.
Mm.
Um, Making sure Blessing is able to sort our waste and call us, hey guys, I think I was able to set aside some recyclables this week. And I think that's success for us because we've influenced your habits by doing so. Um, we've helped the general community to, take a little bit more concise and conscious action in making sure that this small village, is clean, is safe, is healthy, and is profitable. So I think success will be like that for us as well. And of course, our smart beans that is, still a prototype and, under manufacture is, accessible to, the people, within some certain categories, if I may, stratify it that way. But ultimately, success should be a company that meets the needs of everybody in a very reasonable manner. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think we have two reverse vending machine in partnership with
Mm-hmm.
Ecobata
Yeah.
at the University of Abuja. Yeah, we have two reverse vending machine we
Yeah.
manage. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I
So
actually see that as a success and win for you as you go on. And I am looking forward to seeing a lot of these things so far. And it has
AP.
been such fun and eye-opening conversation. Thank you so much, Olabode, for sharing the real unfiltered side of what it means to build a brand or build something in today's Nigeria as it is right now. And I think what stands out most is that starting up is never about having it all figured out. It's about starting anyway, learning on the way and staying consistent.
Yes.
Consistency is key.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even when no one is clapping yet, clap for yourself. Everyone listening and for everyone who's been waiting for the perfect time to start. This is a reminder, like every other person will say, I know you feel like it's a cliche. Begin where you are with what you have. Thank you so much, Olabode, for joining me on Talk the Talk with Uchepuh. And to our audience, those who will be watching, do not forget to subscribe, to also share, and stay tuned for the next episode. Bye.
Thanks.
Yep.